You've probably heard people say, money goes to money, or the rich just keep getting richer. It sounds like a cliche, right? But here's the truth. Once you cross a certain point, money really does change everything. And that tipping point isn't when you're a millionaire. For most people, it's around $20,000. Before we dive in, let me say this. I'm not just another random voice on YouTube. I'm an entrepreneur, someone many of you may already know. I'll reveal exactly who I am when this channel hits 10,000 subscribers. Until then, what matters is that I've built real businesses, I've managed real money, and I want to give you the playbook that nobody gave me. So why $20,000? Because before you reach that amount, every decision you make comes from fear. Fear of running out, fear of emergencies, fear of not paying rent. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, your brain is stuck in survival mode. You can't focus on growth because you're too busy trying to make it to the next paycheck. But once you have $20,000 saved or invested, the game shifts. Suddenly, you're no longer reacting from panic. You're making choices from security. That cushion buys you something priceless. Time. Time to wait for the right job instead of taking the first offer. Time to invest instead of just paying off bills. Time to think long-term instead of living in constant fear. And there's data to back it up. Vanguard found that just $2,000 in emergency savings improves financial well-being by 21%. Imagine multiplying that by 10. At $20,000, you no longer hope things don't go wrong, you know you can handle it when they do. That's the psychological shift that changes everything. Most people never hit that mark because they tell themselves they'll start saving once they earn more. But that's a lie. If you can't save $100 from $1,000, you won't save $1,000 from $10,000. The first $20 is proof that you've built discipline, and that discipline changes who you are with money. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The first stretch is brutal, slow, painful, full of temptation to quit. But once you hit that $20K plateau, the incline gets easier. Momentum kicks in. That's when you finally see why the rich get richer. It's not magic, it's momentum. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your first $20,000 is the hardest, but also the most important money you'll ever make. Because after that, everything accelerates. Before you ever hit $20,000, every decision you make with money comes from a place of fear. Fear of running out, fear of emergencies, fear of losing everything. That's why living paycheck to paycheck feels like drowning. You're never thinking about wealth or growth, you're thinking about survival. Imagine your brain like a computer. When you have no savings, 90% of your processing power is running emergency apps. Pay rent, cover bills, pay off debt. There's no space left for higher level programs like investing, starting a business, or building long-term wealth. But when you hit that $20K buffer, those emergency apps shut down. Suddenly, your brain has the capacity to think about growth. That's why this milestone matters more than any number before it. And we can measure this effect. Vanguard found that having just $2,000 in emergency savings boosts financial well-being by 21%. Push that to 3-6 months of living expenses, and you add another 13%. Now scale that up to $20,000. You're not just adding percentages, you're crossing into an entirely different mindset. You stop asking, what if something goes wrong? And start asking, what can I build next? Take this simple example. Without savings, you accept the first job offer, even if you hate it, because you can't afford to wait. With savings, you can say no. That one decision can completely change the trajectory of your career. The wrong job can set you back years. The right one, chosen from a position of security, can accelerate your future. The same goes for everyday stress. A 2024 Gallup poll showed that 62% of adults living paycheck to paycheck reported crippling levels of stress. Among people with a savings cushion, only 23% did. Why? Because financial stress hijacks your brain chemistry. High cortisol levels destroy your decision-making. It's like trying to play chess while your house is on fire. With $20,000 in savings, the fire is still there, but you've got a fire extinguisher. and that changes everything. Here's the part people don't expect. $20 K doesn't feel like luxury. It feels like calm. You don't buy a sports car. You don't quit your job. What you do is sleep better. You finally stop obsessing over what happens if the car breaks down or if you lose your job tomorrow. That calm is the foundation of every smart financial decision you'll make from then on. Most people never reach it because they tell themselves they'll save when they earn more. But that's a trap. If you can't save $100 from $1,000, you won't save $1,000 from $10,000. Habits don't appear magically with higher income. Discipline scales with income, and the first $20 K is proof that you've built it. Let me give you a case study. Maria and Daniel both earn $45 a year. Maria spends almost all of it. After 5 years, she has maybe $3 saved and endless stress. Daniel saves 25%. Within 2 years, he hits $20 K. Same salary, same life stage, but completely different outcomes. Once Daniel hits that threshold, his money starts compounding. Maria stays stuck in survival mode. Same inputs, different futures. That's why $20,000 is not just a number, it's a transformation. It's the hardest money to save, but once you do, you're no longer the same person. You're no longer trapped in fear. You're the type of person who can build wealth, and that's the psychological power of the first $20. Once you hit $20,000, something magical happens. Momentum. It's not just about the number in your account, it's about what that number starts to do on its own. Money at this level stops being just savings and starts becoming capital, and capital has the power to multiply itself. Think of it like rolling a snowball down a hill. At the start, you're pushing with all your energy, sweating, exhausted, and the ball barely grows. That's your first $20 slow, painful, built dollar by dollar. But once the snowball is big enough, gravity takes over. It starts rolling faster, picking up more snow with every turn. That's compounding, and it's why your second $20 K comes faster than your first. Let's put numbers to it. Suppose you save $1,000 a month and invest it at 8% annual returns. Getting to your first $20,000 takes about 19 months of grinding. But here's where it gets interesting. Your second $20,000 doesn't take another 19 months. It takes around 17. Why? Because now your first $20 K is working alongside your monthly savings, producing returns of its own. By the time you're chasing your third $20 K, the timeline shrinks even more. Your money is now doing more heavy lifting while you're still putting in the same effort. This is the essence of compound interest. Albert Einstein famously called it the eighth wonder of the world. And while the quote might be apocryphal, the truth behind it isn't. Compounding is simply time and consistency teaming up with capital. The longer you let the snowball roll, the faster and bigger it gets. Here's a practical breakdown. If you invest $20,000 at an 8% return, that's $1,600 earned in 1 year. That's money you didn't have to work for. Reinvest it, and now next year you're earning interest on $21,600 instead of just $20,000. Fast forward 10 years, and that same $20 car becomes nearly $43,000 without you adding a single extra dollar. Double the time, and it grows into 6 figures. That's momentum. Now imagine you're still adding $1,000 each month. Suddenly, the numbers explode. What once took you years to save starts showing up in months. At around $400,000 invested, an 8% return generates over $30,000 a year, almost like a full-time salary, without lifting a finger. The same $20 car milestone that once took nearly 2 years now arrives in just 5 months. That's the exponential nature of money once momentum kicks in. And here's the part most people misunderstand. The investments available to you at $20 K aren't really different from the ones available at $1 K. It's not about access to some secret hedge fund. It's about scale. A 10% return on $1,000 feels like nothing. A 10% return on $20,000 feels significant. A 10% return on $200,000 changes your life. Same math, different scale. This is why the first $20 K is so critical. It's the moment when your money finally starts to carry some of the weight for you. Up until that point, you've been dragging the snowball uphill alone. After $20 ski, you finally feel gravity on your side. Most people never experience this shift because they give up before the snowball grows. They grind through the first few thousand, see little progress, and quit. But the ones who push through to $20 K unlock the momentum that makes everything after easier. That's when you stop being just a saver, and you start becoming an investor. So, if you've ever felt like building wealth is impossibly slow, remember this. The slowest part is the beginning. Once you hit that first $20 K, the timeline shortens, the numbers get bigger, and the game starts playing in your favor. That's the snowball effect. Here's the thing about money. The math doesn't change as you get richer, but the impact does. This is the power of scale. The same percentages that felt meaningless when you were broke suddenly feel transformative once you've built a base. And that's why crossing $20,000 isn't just psychological, it's mathematical. Let's break it down. Suppose you invest $1,000 and it grows by 10% in a year. That's $100. Nice, but it doesn't exactly change your life. Now apply that same 10% growth to $20,000. Suddenly you've made $2,000. Same effort, same investment, same risk level, 20 times the result. And when you scale to $200,000, that's $20,000 in growth in the exact same year. No new tricks, no special skills, just more zeros in the account. This is what most people miss. They imagine the wealthy have access to some secret financial world that unlocks only after you've made it. Exclusive hedge funds, insider deals, elite opportunities. But the truth is simpler. The rich are often playing the exact same game you are, just at a completely different scale. The strategies aren't hidden, the compounding isn't different. The difference is the size of the starting number. Think about it like working out. If you lift a 10-pound dumbbell, you'll get some results, but they're small. Lift 100 pounds with the same form, and the results are far more noticeable. The movement didn't change. The form didn't change. The only thing that changed was the weight. Money works the same way. And here's where it gets exciting. The bigger your base, the less effort it takes for money to grow. Let's say you've got $20,000 invested with an 8% return. That's $1,600 a year without you lifting a finger. At $200,000, that return is $16,000. At $2 million, it's $160,000. None of those required more hours worked. The math stayed constant. Scale is what transforms small wins into life-changing results. This is also why $20,000 feels like such a turning point. Before you reach it, your returns feel invisible. A 10% return on $2,000 is only $200. That barely covers groceries. You look at it and think, why bother? But once you've accumulated a real base, those same percentages finally translate into amounts that matter. That's when you begin to see money as a system instead of just numbers. There's also a psychological reinforcement here. When your money starts generating returns big enough to notice, you're more motivated to keep investing. Watching $20,000 grow by $2,000 feels like progress. Watching $200 grow by $20 feels like nothing. The feedback loop is stronger at scale, and that loop is what keeps you disciplined long term. Here's the key takeaway. The math doesn't get better as you go, but the results do, and those results change how you think. At small numbers, investing feels like planting seeds in a desert. At bigger numbers, it feels like harvesting from a growing orchard. Same seeds, same soil, but now you have enough land to make it matter. So if you've ever thought, investing doesn't work for me because the numbers felt too small, remember this. You haven't given it enough scale yet. The first $20 scale is when the math finally starts speaking your language. It's when your brain shifts from, this isn't worth it, to this is starting to work. And that's the real power of scale. If you ask me, the most valuable thing about reaching $20,000 isn't the money itself, it's the person you have to become to get there. Because let's be honest, saving $20 isn't easy. It takes sacrifice, consistency, and patience. And along the way, you build the single most powerful skill in all of finance: discipline. Think about it. Anyone can get lucky once. You can stumble into a good stock pick, land a surprise bonus, or even inherit a little money, but none of that guarantees wealth. What guarantees wealth is the ability to consistently control your behavior with money over time. And by the time you've saved your first $20,000, you've already proven to yourself that you can do exactly that. Let's get real. To reach $20K, you probably had to say no to a lot of things. No to the expensive vacation, no to buying the newest phone, no to upgrading your car just because your neighbor did. Every no was a small act of discipline, and each one added up. By the time you see that balance hit $20,000, it's not just a number in your account, it's evidence of who you've become. Here's a comparison. Building discipline with money is like building muscle at the gym. The first time you go, the weights feel impossible, but you keep showing up. You push a little more each week. Slowly, you transform. Saving works the same way. Each paycheck, each transfer to your savings account, each resisted impulse purchase is a rep. Over time, those reps create financial strength. And that strength doesn't go away once you hit $20K, it stays with you forever. The truth is, the identity shift is more valuable than the money. Before $20K, you might think of yourself as someone who tries to save, someone who wants to get better with money. After $20K, you've proven that you are someone who saves. You're the kind of person who can delay gratification, who can stick to a plan, who can put long-term goals above short-term pleasures. That identity is what separates those who stay wealthy from those who get lucky once and lose it all. Think about lottery winners. Most of them end up broke within a few years. Why? Because they had the money, but not the discipline. Compare that to someone who took years to grind their way to $20K. That person has a completely different relationship with money. They understand sacrifice, patience, and planning, and that's why they can handle bigger numbers when they come. Here's the beauty of discipline. Once you've built it, it scales. If you can save $1, you can save $10. If you can save $1,000, you can save $10,000. The habits don't change, only the numbers do. And that's why the first $20 is such a big deal. It's not just a financial milestone. It's proof that you've built the habits and the mindset that will carry you to $100K, $500K, and beyond. So remember this. Money can come and go, markets can rise and fall, but discipline is permanent. Once you've built it, no one can take it from you. And that's why the real prize of hitting $20,000 isn't the cash sitting in your account, it's the new version of yourself staring back in the mirror. If reaching $20,000 were easy, everyone would have it. The truth is, most people never get there. And it's not because they don't make enough money, it's because they fall into financial traps designed to keep them stuck. If you want to break through that barrier, you need to see these traps for what they are and learn how to avoid them. The first trap is bad debt. Credit cards, payday loans, buy now, pay later schemes, they're all built to enslave you. Think about it. An average credit card in 2025 charges around 22% interest. If you owe $5,000, that's $1,100 a year just in interest. Meanwhile, the stock market historically returns 7-8% per year. Debt is literally compounding against you while your investments can't keep up. That's why so many people work hard and still never escape. They're sprinting on a treadmill that's moving twice as fast in the opposite direction. The second trap is lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, and instead of saving it, you upgrade your car, your apartment, your clothes. Suddenly, your expenses rise to match your income, and you're back to zero. Lifestyle inflation is invisible because it feels normal. Everyone around you is doing it, so you think you should too. But every dollar you spend on status is a dollar that could have pushed you closer to freedom. The third trap is subscriptions and small leaks. $10 here, $20 there, a few streaming services, premium apps, unused gym memberships. On their own, they look harmless. But add them up, and you might be losing hundreds every month. Over a year, that could be thousands. The difference between staying stuck and hitting your first $5K saved. Another trap is consumer culture. Companies spend billions to convince you that you're incomplete without the latest gadget, fashion, or trend. TikTok shopping, targeted Instagram ads, limited edition drops, it's psychological warfare. They're not just selling products, they're selling identity, status, and belonging. And if you don't learn to separate what you want from what you're being told to want, your bank account will never grow. There's also the silent trap, inflation. Even if you're disciplined, parking all your money in cash slowly erodes it. A 4% inflation rate means your money loses nearly half its value in 18 years. That means $10,000 today buys what $5,000 will buy tomorrow. Inflation punishes the passive. The only way out is to make your money work harder than prices rise. Finally, the biggest trap is believing you'll start saving later. This is the lie that kills financial futures. I'll start when I get a raise. I'll start when my debt is gone. I'll start after this vacation. Later never comes. The perfect time doesn't exist. The habit has to start now, even with small amounts. Most people are working hard just to stay broke because they're trapped in these cycles. Debt compounds against them. Consumption drains them. Inflation quietly steals from them. And the worst part is, the system is designed that way. Companies, banks, even governments benefit from people who can't escape. The only way to beat the system is to step outside of it, break the traps, build discipline, and push through to that first $20 because once you do, you're no longer playing their game, you're playing yours. If the first $20,000 is the hardest, the obvious question is, how do you get there faster? The truth is, most people underestimate how many levers they can pull to speed up their journey. Saving isn't just about cutting coffee or eating at home. It's about combining smarter income, smarter systems, and smarter mindset. Let's break it down. The first lever is knowing exactly where you stand. You can't improve what you don't measure. Most people have no idea how much they actually spend each month. They guess, they assume, and they're wrong. If you don't know your starting point, you'll never hit $20K. Step 1 is brutally simple. Track everything. Not forever, just long enough to see the patterns. Once you know how much is coming in and where it's leaking out, you can take control. The second lever is automation. Humans are bad at discipline when temptation is staring at us. That's why the smartest people remove the choice. Set up automatic transfers to your savings or investment account the moment your paycheck hits. Treat savings like a bill, non-negotiable, automatic, untouchable. There are even apps in 2025 that round up every purchase and stash the change, so you're building wealth without even noticing. Automating your money is like putting wealth building on autopilot. The third lever is cutting the right costs. Forget the myth that skipping lattes will make you rich. Small cuts help, but the real wins are in fixed expenses: housing, transportation, subscriptions. Negotiate your rent, refinance debt, cancel what you don't use. Cutting $300 in recurring costs beats cutting $5 coffees because you only make the decision once, but you benefit every single month. The fourth lever is earning more. This is the lever most people ignore because it feels harder, but it's actually the most powerful. You can only save as much as you earn, but you can always increase your income ceiling. In 2025, the opportunities are everywhere. Freelancing online, AI-powered side hustles, remote work gigs, selling skills you already have. Even switching jobs or asking for a raise can accelerate your path more than years of penny pinching. Don't just shrink your expenses, expand your income. The fifth lever is investing early, even with small amounts. Too many people think they'll start investing after they save their first $20K. Big mistake. Compounding doesn't care about your timeline. Even a few $100s working in the market while you're building your savings can shorten the journey dramatically. The key is balance. Keep your emergency fund growing while letting at least some of your money experience growth. The sixth lever is mindset. This might sound soft, but it's everything. Most people sabotage themselves with the story they tell. I'm not good with money. "I'll never be rich. I'll start later." If you believe that, you'll prove yourself right. The people who hit $20 fastest are the ones who see it as non-negotiable. It's not a dream, it's a deadline. Here's the bottom line. Your first $20K is the toughest milestone, but it doesn't have to take decades. Measure where you are, automate what you can, cut the right costs, earn more, invest early, and above all, stay committed. Because the day you see that account balance hit $20,000, you'll realize it wasn't just about the money, it was about proving to yourself that you could do it faster than you thought. Hitting your first $20,000 feels huge, but it's only the beginning. The real question is, how do you turn $20 into $100? Because once you have a roadmap, that number isn't just possible, it's inevitable. The first step is understanding the timeline. Saving $20,000 might have taken you years, but the leap from $20K to $100K can be much faster because momentum is now on your side. Let's put numbers to it. If you have $20K invested at an 8% annual return, that's $1,600 a year in growth money you didn't work for. Add $1,000 in monthly savings, and you're contributing $12,000 more every year. In just over 5 years, you're not at $20K anymore, you're at 6 figures. The same milestone that once felt impossible now looks like simple math. The second step is diversification. At $20K, you were just learning to invest. Maybe you stuck with index funds or a high-yield savings account. By the time you're building toward $100 car, you can start layering strategies, ETFs, dividend stocks, maybe a small slice into alternative assets like REITs or even crypto if your risk tolerance allows. The goal isn't to gamble, it's to spread risk while letting compounding work across multiple engines. The third step is avoiding complacency. Many people hit $20K and relax. They ease up thinking, "I've made it." That's the trap. $20K is stability, $100K is freedom. The difference between the two is night and day. At $20K, a big emergency could still knock you back to zero. At $100K, you're nearly untouchable. Don't stop pushing. The fourth step is keeping lifestyle inflation in check. The fastest way to sabotage your progress is to raise your expenses as fast as your savings grow. That extra $500 you make at work should be buying you speed toward $100K, not a nicer car payment. If you hold your lifestyle steady while your income grows, the extra cash accelerates your journey like rocket fuel. The fifth step is letting compounding carry the load. Here's where scale shines. At $20K, an 8% return felt small, just $1,600. At $50K, it's $4,000. At $100K, it's $8,000. That's almost a year of rent in many cities, earned passively. The further you climb, the faster the numbers grow, and the less you need to grind. Finally, the most important step is building identity. At $20K, you proved you could save. At $100K, you've proven you can build wealth. There's a difference. Saving is about discipline. Building is about vision. You're no longer just protecting yourself from emergencies. You're laying the foundation for financial independence. Think of $20 as survival money. Think of $100 as opportunity money. With $20K, you can handle problems. With $100K, you can start taking risks that change your life, starting a business, investing in real estate, or backing yourself in ways most people never can. So, here's the roadmap. Stay consistent with your contributions, diversify intelligently, resist lifestyle creep, and let compounding do the heavy lifting. Follow that path, and you won't just get from $20K to $100K. You'll realize that $100K is just another milestone on the way to something much bigger. So now you know why the first $20,000 is the hardest and also the most powerful. It's the line between fear and freedom, between reacting to life and actually building it. Once you hit that milestone, the rules change. Your money starts working for you, compounding takes over, and the numbers finally feel real. But let me leave you with this. $20,000 is not the finish line. It's just the beginning. From there, you have the roadmap to $100 and beyond. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. And the difference isn't luck, or secret knowledge, or winning the lottery. It's discipline, consistency, and refusing to quit when it feels slow. Now here's where I get real with you. I said this at the beginning and I'll say it again. I'm not just another faceless creator reading off ideas from the internet. I'm an entrepreneur you probably already know. Maybe you've seen my work. Maybe you've used one of my companies. Maybe you've read about me. And I'll reveal exactly who I am when this channel hits 10,000 subscribers. Until then, I want the focus to stay on the ideas, because these ideas can change your life if you take them seriously. So here's my challenge for you. If you're still below that first $20K, decide today that you're going to get there. Don't wait for later. Don't wait for the perfect job, or the perfect time, or the perfect raise. Later never comes. The only time you can start is now. And if you've already hit $20K, then set your sights higher. Keep pushing, because $100K is closer than you think. I also want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, where are you right now on your journey? Are you just starting with your first $1,000? Are you halfway to $20K? Have you already crossed it and felt the shift? Your story might be the spark that motivates someone else watching this video. If you found value here, do two things. First, share this video with someone who needs it. A friend, a sibling, anyone who feels stuck in survival mode. Sometimes a single idea is enough to change the way someone thinks about money. And second, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Because every week, I'm going to give you the real strategies, the real numbers, and the real psychology of money. Not the hype, not the fluff, just the truth about how wealth is actually built. Remember, wealth isn't about luck. It's not about being born into the right family or stumbling into a windfall. Wealth is about systems, habits, and choices. And the first $20,000 is proof that you can play this game and win. So, keep going, keep building, and when this channel crosses 10,000 subscribers, you'll finally know who's been behind this voice the whole time. Until then, focus on your number and make sure you never stop compounding. What if I told you the next 30 minutes of this video are not for listening but for testing yourself? Here's the deal. From this point on, the screen will go black. No sound, nothing to watch, just a timer. 30 minutes. Why? Because this is your chance to practice something most people never do. Focus without distraction. For the next half hour, I want you to sit with your thoughts. Reflect on your relationship with money. Think about the choices you've made, the traps you've fallen into, and the goals you want to hit next. Ask yourself, what's my number? What will it take to reach it? Most people can't even last 5 minutes without picking up their phone. If you make it through these 30 minutes, you're already proving that you have the discipline to beat the system. Because building wealth isn't just about numbers, it's about patience, consistency, and the ability to delay gratification. So don't click away. Don't look for the next video. Treat this as your personal challenge. 30 minutes. No noise, no distractions, just you, your thoughts, and the commitment to yourself. If you finish this challenge, leave a comment saying, I made it through the 30 and I guarantee you'll inspire others to try it too.